much for having me today. Alex and I were having a conversation, and then we were deciding on what to talk about, and I think Alex and I have also had a lot of conversation while he was in Ghana on like different aspects of our history as Ghanaians and how our history has spanned across centuries and centuries, and yet when we are talking, we seem to limit it to our recent experiences and all of that, therefore also missing a lot of basic and very essential elements to which those nuances and those elements is what is actually shaping a lot of minds as we move on in society. So we decided to also break the conversation into two. So I am going to talk about the Ghanaian perspective of queerness, and then Alex will come in and also talk about his side. Be on the lookout for this. So I have titled my presentation Queerness in Pre-Colonial Ghana. And again, when we mention is that thank you. Okay, so when we mention pre-colonial Ghana, I think we have to go back a little bit. So I just put in here a map of Africa, and I don't know how many of you can locate Ghana, what Ghana is like. Yeah, somewhere here, right? Yeah, somewhere here. That's how Africa has been. It's a continent that is very diverse and also has a lot of experiences and cultures and diversity in its most vivid and its most interesting forms. You can use one situation or one particular culture to like define everything in Africa. That would be like it would be very wrong. You can't use one brush to like just paint the whole of Africa. Even within Ghana, there are about 57 different ethnic groups and all of that. So when it comes to diversity, it is a continent full of diversity, full of creativity, full of light, full of culture, and full of colors. And we'll see how that is going to play a little bit in my presentation. Okay, so I'm going to limit myself a little bit to the west of Africa, and that's where Ghana is located, in the western part of Africa. And in the western part of Africa, there has been quite a number of empires that has existed for a while. We have had the Ghana Empire. So interesting enough, the name Ghana was adapted from this ancient empire Ghana, which existed around the Mali, Senegal, Burkina, Ghana, and all those regions. So those regions around the West Africa was where we had the Ghana Empire. Along the lines, we also had the Shanghai Empire, which also came after the Ghana Empire had elapsed. And then we also had the Malian Empire, which also came after the Shanghai, and the Ghana Empire has also lived its course. And then finally, we also had the Ashanti Empire, which also came around the 17th century, and then also lasted till the 19th century. But we still have remnants of the Ashanti Empire still existing in Ghana anyway, but we're not going to go too much into that. So again, when you pick the Ashanti Empire, within Ashanti Empire, it's actually a bigger ethnic group called the Akan people, right? So the Akan people are also the Kwao people who span across both Ghana and present-day Cote d'Ivoire, somewhere towards Togo and all these other places. And of course, colonization really demarcated these countries into this present time. But then before that, we already had the traditional spaces, or a traditional map where especially the Akan people were like the most dominant tribe within those regions. And I happen to come from the Akan tribe, so I can speak a little bit more about these tribes. And then the Akan tribe has existed for quite some time. So within the Akan tribes, we have the Equiapims, we have the Kwamus, we have the Chim, we have the Sante, we have the Bonos, we have the Fanti, we have the Kwewu, we have the Sishui, we have the Ahamta, the Nzema, among others. So again, the Akan people are also a matrilineal um, society. So we actually trace our ancestry and our lineage through our mother's side, not through our father's side. As a matter of fact, the fathers just play the giving birth role and like this. So any child that is born by an Akan woman belongs to the mother. Again, it will be interesting, right? And I wish we had a lot of time to have gone through even this particular topic, because then there will be a lot to have unpacked from there. And we used to say that because the Akans are matrilineal, even the idea that a woman has to get married to a man and then a man has to be the head of the house doesn't exist within the Akan system. Because it's the woman that is the head of the house. The woman, every family member traces their lineage through the woman. So if you can't trace your lineage through your mother's side, then you can identify within the Akan system. And so if a woman can have multiple husbands, as far as they have more children, it belongs to the woman, and that's all. So the idea about even the father being the head of the family and the woman being promiscuous and all those things didn't really exist within the Akan system. But I would say that the introduction of, especially Western ideologies and religion also began to change the system. But we're not gonna focus too much on that. So these are the Akan people of West Africa and specifically Ghana. Now, when it comes to the Akan people, spirituality plays a strong role in our lives. As a matter of fact, the moment a child is born, all through to when the child grows and everything, spirituality plays a lot of role. But again, within the Akan system too, so we have two spirits that's mostly the Akan people equate one to. So we have something we call Krapa, which means a good soul, and then we have Krebrifo, which means a bad soul. Now, everybody wishes to have a good soul, and if you happen to be somebody who is, a Krebrifo or a bad soul, then there are also performances that you have to go through to be able to cleanse yourself or wash yourself of all this negativity or bad omen whatsoever. Again, within the Akan system too, when it comes to spirituality, it is an individual affair rather than a collective affair. So you cannot be the one that subjects another one to what you would term as a sin or anything. So within the Akan system, so I interestingly put some words here and I'm going to mention them. For instance, Obinchre Akola Nyame, within the Akan system, it literally translates that nobody teaches a child who God is, right? Which also means that the child is going to find God out for his own self. And therefore, you're not the one that teaches a child who God is. So if you can't teach a child who God is, you definitely can't teach an adult who God is. So it's as simple as that, right? And then we have Obi friend in Yameno, not Obi Minaho. When someone was calling their God, no one was there or nobody was there. It means that at any point when I go through anything and I call, oh my God, you are not there, and therefore you can't be the one that prejudge or predetermines what my belief is or how I manifest or experience my one's belief. And then there is also another one. Okay, so Obia Konodieni Odumpunsuno, right? Which will say that once I'm trying to find the English word for that. So Odumpo is an animal that usually people wouldn't want to eat, right? So maybe a reptile or something that people are not really interested in like taking. But then what this saying is saying that, as a matter of fact, somebody's favorite part or favorite food is the intestine of this reptile, which tells you that some people can have an interest and a favorite in a place that so many people don't even appreciate or can't even have at all. And therefore, you can also determine or tell what somebody likes or what somebody doesn't like. And therefore, where a person's spirituality, their soul, and their body and everything lies, it always lies with the individual. And therefore, an individual is conscious of their own actions and inactions within their kind system. Which means that if you do a good thing, it lies with you. If you also do a bad thing, it lies with you. But whether good or bad, the actions you take has a repercussions, and those repercussions happens immediately. It doesn't even wait till after you are dead. Whether good or bad, those repercussions happens to you immediately. Right? Anyway, and so with that notion, we'll come to queer people, right? Which also says, so I'm obsessing here that queer people have always been the embodiment of spirituality, creativity, entertainment, progress, and development across society, right? Which is to say that, interestingly, within the Ghanaian societies and communities in which we find ourselves, you would also see that for most times, when you look at certain trade or certain treats that is associated to different people within society, you realize that it's mostly queer people who are embodying and manifesting so many of these traits. And I am going to show some of them as we go on. So one of them is Ataa Naa Nyomo by the Ga people, right? So the word Ataa Naa Nyomo, right? So these are three words there. Ataa means a male or an older male. Na also means a female, which also means like it can also refer to an older or a younger female. And then Nyomo means God, right? So within the Ghana people of Ghana, they refer to God as man, woman, God, right? So in other words, God is both a male gender, a female gender, right? And so with the Ghana people, for instance, when they are practicing their spirituality, and here we're talking about spirituality, and this is also some of the depictions of like the Ghana people when they are practicing their spirituality, they tend to show off their upper body, and that is if the individual is possessed by a male deity, they show off their upper body, and if they are possessed by a female deity, they usually will cover the upper parts of their body. Well, I saw this online and it was actually like blurred. How did you do that? So yes. You blurred it out. But otherwise, when you see this practice happening within the society or within the town, there are still remnants of that happening now. They actually show the body like that, and there's no big deal about it. So when it comes here, for instance, a woman can be possessed by a male deity and therefore begin to manifest the actions of the male deity, and it doesn't matter. Everybody in the society understands, and as a matter of fact, revered these individuals and give them all the necessary respect and accolades that they deserve within the society. So in this context, you would even understand that even for the Ghana people, they understand that God is not a one gender. God is both a feminine and also a masculine gender, and that God can manifest their gender even through their oracles or people they possess. And when they possess you, whether you are male or female, it doesn't matter. You have to manifest and begin to perform in the gender of the gods, and that has always not been a problem within the Ghana community. And when you take the Ghana people from there, you go to the Fantis too. They also have similar practices, and so usually what this practice is called in the local language is akom, right? So that's for the Ghana people. So you can also see this also within the Akan people, especially the Fantis, and you can also see the other people also practicing the same similar practices within their ethnic groups. Now, again, when you also pick the Ghanaian languages, most of the Ghanaian languages are also gender neutral, right? So interestingly, we even see politics going around. There's just a male washroom, there's a female washroom, this is that. Within even the Ghanaian languages, when it comes to gender, when it comes to pronoun, it is also very neutral. For instance, we don't have a he or a she. If I want to refer to you, I'll say wo. And when I say wo, it refers to you. I don't have to say he. Or if I see you, I don't have to refer to you as a she. When I say wo, it can refer to a male or a female or any other person at all, right? And so we also realize that we have this neutrality within our languages that also manifests what I would term as queerness, you know, because you don't have to look at somebody's dressing or the way they are to either identify them as a he or she. Just by the language itself, it gives room for everyone to be referred to as the same pronouns when it comes to, and it's the same in Chi, which is one of the Akan. Chi is actually an Akan language, but then also if you go to the Ghana, and if you go to the Evers and even the northern part of Ghana too, you would also see neutral pronouns within the languages there. Now, this is another interesting thing. So, as I keep saying, right? So the queer people have always been the embodiment of spirituality, of entertainment, of development, and also creativity and all of that. So there's another manifestation of what queerness or even is like within our society. So Bamaya is a dance that is danced with the Dagbani people in the northern part of Ghana. And then before this dance is danced, you have to, if you're a male, you have to actually wear a feminine clothing to perform this dance. If you don't wear feminine clothing to perform this dance, as a matter of fact, it wouldn't be considered as a Bamaya dance, right? And then there's a story behind this dance. I wish I had time to say it, but maybe let me try and put it short. And so there was a time where the Dagbani people were having famine within their society, and there wasn't food, the rain wasn't falling whatsoever. And so they consulted their oracle, and then their oracle came back and said to them that before the rain will come, all your men have to actually wear female clothes and then dance to the gods before the gods will allow the rain to come, right? So, but then again, there is an interesting nuance there, right? Which is to say that why would a god cause all the men in the village to wear feminine clothing to dance to him before he allows for rain to come, right? So I want to believe that probably the oracle, the consultant, probably a queer oracle who's like, you know what, I'm going to make you guys. Anyway, but up to today, this is a performance that is still performed within the Dagbani groups in Ghana, where the men actually wear feminine clothes and perform the dance. It's a very energetic dance, and it takes a lot of energy to dance this dance, but it's also a dance that still goes on there, and it's an amazing dance. And I think there are even a couple of these dances on YouTube and stuff. You can even check it out on YouTube and stuff. Again, there is also masquerade performances across different ethnic groups in Ghana, where within these masquerade performances, I mean, you're putting on a mask or whatever, so you can put on any mask at all, and you can, manifest any gender at all within this mask, and it's never been a problem there. So, again, when it comes to entertainment and even spirituality and even community life and all of that, you will see this queerness manifesting itself through these dances and also these performances within various society in Ghana. Again, there are also words that are also used to depict queer people or LGBT people, right? One of them is Oba Berima. Another one is Kojibisia. And then there's also Supi, right? Now, Obaberima is usually referred to a woman who has masculine traits, right? And then Kojibisia is also used to refer to a man who has feminine traits. CP is just a lesbian word, but yeah, we're not going into too much of those words. But that is to say, and I'm putting the Queen Yasantua here. He's one of the people that is also revered within the Ghanaian history. Now, Yasantua was one of the queens that took arm against the British and fought them during this era and all of that. And up till now, Yasantua is celebrated. But then Yasantua is an individual that, if we are to describe her, you would want to describe her as Obaber. Right. So for a woman to have picked arms and perform masculine performances, to us we refer to that as such a person as Obaberima. Right. So then you would even see that within our history, some of the people that we even term today as Obaberima, even people who have shaped our history as Ghanaians in the past, and Yasantua is one of them. We still celebrate Yasantua today, but Yasantua clearly is somebody that, if we want to use, the Ghanaian term today and being very homophobic and treat them, probably it's a lesbian or, supi or whatever they would want to call it, but yeah. Who are we to say Yasantua is a lesbian? So we'll just leave it as such. Yes, and then we have this word, Ngwale Agyalɛ, right? So, which is also another institution within the Nzema people of the southwestern part of Ghana, right? Where two individuals can actually marry themselves, right? And it is an interesting institution, and it's also a very subtle institution that is not something that they usually would want to say or want to put it out there, which is to say that two individuals, because of the way they relate with each other and how they understand each other, irrespective of their gender, can decide to live together and be together, right? So you can have two men who completely understand themselves and understand how each other is, and therefore in a society like that, the two of them can decide to perform Ngwale Agyalɛ and then just be there together as two individuals who understand themselves and want to form, a relationship till maybe one of them parts way or something, right? So and again, you can also see the queerness within these practices also within the Nzema people of the southwestern part of Ghana. Anyway, again, when it comes to sex, it's also a very, I'm using the word sexual intercourse, right? It's also a very private affairs between two individuals, and within our society, we don't really discuss these two. So, well, the two of them, whether they are having sexual intercourse, that's none of anybody's business. But again, there is a decision that allows for two men or two women to just be together and then understand themselves and live the rest of their life being together, and that is equally fine within the Nzema people of the southwestern parts of Ghana. And then there is also another marriage also in Ghana, right? Which is also between two women among the Kasina Nankana people of the northern parts of Ghana. So it's not just the Kasina Nankana people of northern parts of Ghana. There are also other ethnic groups within the northern part of Ghana who also perform these marriages, which is to say that a woman can be very industrious and resourceful and have a lot of money and resources more than a man would have, right? And such women, if it happens that they are able to have their own children, these women can actually go and marry another woman and then bring the woman to her home, and then this woman would then give birth, and then the children becomes the child of this woman who married another woman to produce children for her, right? And it's actually a very normal practices within the various sects of people in the northern parts of Ghana. And it's not even unique to just them. Even within their camp people too, such practices is also allowed. Once you are a very industrious woman and you don't have a child, you can go and marry another woman, and then this woman produces children, and then the children becomes your child. But then because you married the woman, you are probably the man of the house, or whatever you would want to put it. But yeah, you are the one that have the children becomes your responsibility and a part of you as the head of the house and all that. And so this practice is also a very normal practice that continuously go on within the northern ethnic groups in Ghana, and especially the people from Kassina and Ghana. So I'm going to end my presentation here because there is a lot that we'll have to go through, and I only had like 30 to 40 minutes, so I didn't want to go over my time. So again, everybody have their own place within society, and if every society would have allowed, then everyone would have really find their place in society and begin to perform their role. That would have encouraged a society, a community to grow in its most flourishing form and its most interesting form. Unfortunately, we don't have that happening now in Ghana, and I guess Alex is going to go a little bit into that. And the reason why we don't have this happening is the influence of so many experiences that we've had to go through as a continent, and specifically as a country, and even ethnic groups and all of that. And one of them has to do with the influence of Western ideologies, which is to say some of these Western ideologies had to counter a lot of the traditional ideology because it was going hand in hand. It was like two propaganda. Like this person is preaching about how their style of life and in society is more progressive and more enduring than the other, and then the other also tries to want to project and their own, and by so doing created a lot of conflict where we are at a time where Ghana is criminalizing LGBTQ persons, and then they read the word LGBTQ, and then we always tell them that listen, the word LGBTQ is an English word, it's an acronym, but if you take the word LGBTQ from there and you really want to go into our history, we can point to you what the word LGBTQ means within our local context, and we will be able to understand the issues from the local context, and therefore we need to be careful how we criminalize individuals because there is an English word that says LGBTQ and we don't want it to influence our society. But again, looking at the presentation I gave, you realize that actually the queer people are the ones that are actually shaping a lot of the society, the development and creativity and everything within society. And it's even happening today when we pick fashion designers, we pick comedians, and so today in Ghana, so many of them are queer people who are doing all these things, and therefore we need to be careful. But again, the influence of still the far-right evangelical groups and all of that are still pushing the idea that queer people are Western import, they are Western people, and therefore queer people need to be criminalized. And that's where we are seeing a bill that is very heavy on hate, that is just criminalizing one's existence by you saying they are gay or whatever. But if you're going to criminalize people, why are you going to criminalize all of these identities that we find within the different sectors of our society? And this is a question for us as Ghanaians to really think about it and ponder around it and hope that hate doesn't win at the end of the day because it's a Western import or an evangelical group from somewhere says that LGBT people are a threat. So I'm going to end here, and then I don't know if there are questions. If not, then I'm going to wait. Yes.
At the end of the, maybe we should give him a hand. Yeah.